Okay, so the main part of our building of the game is done, and it's just time now to finish off the little bits and pieces and make sure we've got everything done. One of the things we said we would be doing in our flowchart was setting up a title with some instructions. So we'll go ahead and do that now. To do that, we're just going to introduce another stage as a background, and we'll simply import that. So let's do that now. Let's go to curriculum, year 5, Scratch, games, and in our backgrounds I have one called Splash. So I'm just going to introduce that. Now it looks a little bit weird with all of this checkered over things and bits and pieces. Let's not panic about that right now. We will make that look good in a second. So for now, to make things look better, let's just click off Splash to practice maze, and things will look a little bit better. Alrighty, so we want to go back to our script, and we're going to edit our sprite to script, or our moving mouth. So there's a few things that we need to do here. We're going to bring in a new event. And in this event, it's going to say when the backdrop switches to Splash, when that happens, we want to hide the mouth. We don't want to be able to see it. So it's going to disappear. The next thing we want to do is we're going to add a key to get us to that splash. So we're going to again be using an event, and we're not going to use the spacebar, but we'll use the letter S for start. So I'm going to, when I press the letter S, I'm going to use these bits of information here. I want to set the score to 0. I want to move it to the right place. I'm just going to get rid of this by taking it back to the middle and letting it go, and it'll disappear. When we press S, we want the mouth to reappear, so we're going to say show once it's in the right position, and we also want to show the variable of score because we're going to make it disappear in a moment. So we want to show the score. So we've just made the score appear up here. We're going to set it back to 0. We're going to put the mouth here, and we're going to be able to see it. So S is the beginning of our game. Okay, now we've got that done, we need to come to our foods, and in our foods we need to add a couple of new bits of code. We're going to be adding again here, when we see the splash, we want it to hide. Remember at the beginning when I put the splash sign in originally, all of these were over the top of it and it looked really weird. Well, this will make each one disappear. So we need to do that, and we also need to say when we press the S, we want them to reappear. So we'll just have to put that in. Now this would have been a nicer thing to have it earlier on, and we could have just made it all appear at the beginning, but the way we're going to have to do it now is we're going to have to put this bit of code on every single one of these. It's a bit of a pain in the bottom, but that's just what we've got to do. So like we did last time, you need to right click, duplicate, and paste it there. I would simply go through and do this one first, and once I have done all of those, I would then do the other piece of code, which is the making it show. So I'll just finish these ones off. That's a bit boring, I know, but at least you'll see what we need to do. And now I need to go back and also add this piece of code, because at the moment we only have that one, whereas we need both of those bits of code. Okay, so this one currently only has the hide, but we also need it to show. So we need to make sure we duplicate that onto every single one of these. Otherwise, when we start the game, some of our food won't be there to be eaten, which would be a shame. So I'm nearly done with that, and we'll test that and see how that all works. The best thing you can do when you're coding is do something, check it. Okay, I think that should be right now. So let's start the code. Alright, so we need to do a couple more things before that's going to quite work. We just need to now add some code to the actual background. So we click on the background and we can actually add code into here. Now this might be going a little bit beyond where you need to go, but you'll get the idea. We're going to say when we press S again, what do we want to happen? We want to change back to the background of, oops, not Splash, but we want to change back to the practice background. Okay, so that's really important that we do that. Alright, so when we start the game and we press, one moment, what's going wrong here? When we start the game, we need to fix that so that we actually have that background appear. Okay, so we need up in here, when we're making this appear, we need to add a couple of little bits in. So I'm just going to move this around just for the sake so that we can see what's happening. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to add a little bit of code here, because what we want to do, remember we're making the score appear, so we want to hide it when we start the game, because we don't want to score on our splash screen, and we're going to switch to our splash screen. So switch backdrop to splash. Now when I start the game, hopefully it will go straight to here. I then have to click the flag and press S, and then my game will start. So now I've started my game, I can move around. Now I did notice that my chips weren't there when I started the game. When I hit S, the chips weren't there. So I'm going to guess that I've missed a bit of code on the chips. So let me just come down here and look at the chips, and yes, it is missing. It is missing the show on S. So let's add that in. Now when I start my game and press S, my chips appear. So that's all working nicely now. So that's what we needed to happen. Alright, we will come back and do the final bit of tidying up later on. See if you can get those things to happen, and we'll see you in the next one.